In the basement of La Penta, this is WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe and Big Shot Rob rolling along with today's show. And you know what? I'm at a part where I've been waiting to talk about it all week, and I've dissected everything in Philadelphia media. I've been hooked on their online, on their newspapers, just getting the vibe of the city. And there are a lot of people who aren't happy, who don't know what's going on. I think a little bit more joy after they signed DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews yesterday. But I mean, we're just gonna go over all of it. Obviously, yesterday the big news was they signed DeMarco Murray to a 5-year, $42 million contract with $21 million guaranteed, and then Ryan Matthews also signing. Now, it seemed like all the reports were indicating that Ryan Matthews was going to back out when DeMarco Murray signed there, because obviously he's not going to get as many carries, as much playing time behind DeMarco Murray, but he actually did sign up, and he said he's not worried about the lack of touches. He signed a 3-year, $11.5 million deal. So, Rob, you look at this backfield now. You go from having LaShawn McCoy and Darren Sproles. Now you've got Ryan Matthews, and you've got DeMarco Murray, who's going to be your power horse back. The one thing I look at, Rob, and I kind of look at this whole body of work, and my question is Chip Kelly changing his philosophy? Now, I say that because you're going from Nick Foles to Sam Bradford, and you're going from LaShawn McCoy to DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews. Now, these groups are very different. Foles and McCoy are a little bit more mobile, a little bit more lean and quick than Bradford, who's bigger, not as mobile, not as quick, and Murray, who's just a bruising back. Is Chip Kelly kind of looking at the NFL now and saying, I have to change my kind of personnel to fit what wins in this league now, and that's a bruiser like DeMarco Murray and just a big quarterback like Sam Bradford?
Oh, he definitely is, Joe. One thing I have to say, he's trying to make it like college football now. It's starting to look like an actual Oregon college football team out there, Joe. 3 running backs now? 3 running backs. We've seen that with Oregon's program. Nick Foles, that was the most surprising news to me this whole week for Sam Bradford. I'll give Bradford his upside. Before he went down, Joe, with his injury in 2013, he was on a roll.
He was playing his best football of his career, yes.
And now, I mean, he's out this year. He injures his ACL yet again in the preseason. Now, doesn't that sort of worry you as Kelly?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yes, he could run a spread-out offense. It was different in Oklahoma than it was in Oregon. I mean, it might work out with Chip Kelly. But he's one hit away in that knee. What if he gets hit in that knee again? Are you going to provide him the best pass protection out there to protect him? Because if he's hit there again, guy's career is over. And then what are you going to do if you're Chip Kelly? Going to wait for the draft to find somebody again? A draft like this, you're not going to have another Marcus Mariota for the next couple of years, another Jameis Winston.
Absolutely not. And it's interesting because my initial reaction right after the trade was, okay, this is just a trade chip for Chip Kelly. He's probably just going to trade him and try to get another pick to move up from Marcus Mariota. But after listening to his press conference, I don't know. I mean, he seems very, very... Now, maybe it's part of an act, and he's just trying to fool all of us, so it wouldn't be the first time we've seen it. But I came out of that press conference really feeling like Sam Bradford is his quarterback. Now, and it's interesting because we know what Chip Kelly wants to do. We know how his offense runs. And I just don't see Sam Bradford being that guy who can fit that system. And when I look at all the personnel moves he's made, part of me thinks he's changing his style a little bit. Maybe he will try to get these guys to work and make it a different type of offense. But I think overall he's reevaluating the philosophy, the personnel that fits that philosophy, and he's trying to make new things work. And it's very interesting, but I mean, overall, when you look at the entire offseason so far, can we still be confident, Rob, that there's not a plan involving Marcus Mariota for Chip Kelly?
I'm not confident whatsoever in him. I don't think there really is a plan. I mean, they said, yeah, they were offered a first-round pick for Bradford, but how high was that pick? That's the question. And, I mean, unless you have 2 first-round picks, maybe you can try to trade that to a lower team. But a lot of these teams need Mariota. A lot of these lower teams, they're not talking about, they're saying, oh, they need a wide receiver, they need a defensive end. But at the end of the day, they need Marcus Mariota. They need that guy. And I don't see it working out too well for the Eagles, Joe. But one thing I have to say that's really aggravated me with Chip Kelly is we saw the year before, Joe, with Deshaun Jackson, leading receiver. He let him go. Now this year, you let Jeremy Maclin walk. He was leading your team this year. He replaced Deshaun Jackson. Now, what is Chip Kelly's deal about that? You're letting the top wideouts go back-to-back years? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. You can't rely on a running game to win games. I'm sorry. A running game is not going to last you all 16 games. You need wide receiver corps out there.
And I see Deshaun Jackson I didn't have a problem with, only because I felt like Deshaun was a troublemaker. I really think that he was just a head case and a trouble to deal with for everyone. But Maclin, I agree with you, because when we look at the Eagles, they have a lot of weaknesses with wide receivers now. I mean, you've got Riley Cooper, you've got a good tight end, Zach Ertz, but you have holes, and Jeremy Maclin is going to be a loss. I mean, look at his numbers last year. It's a very big piece of this team. And you're right. This is a passing league now. I know you've got 3 great running backs. They can do a lot of good things, but you can't win just running the football. You need playmakers on offense. You need guys who, when the game is on the line, and we see the way that officials call these games now. When the game is on the line, if you send your receiver down the field, you've got a pretty darn good chance he's going to get a flag for pass interference or something. The game has changed, and you need playmakers on offense. They just don't really have that right now, and it's really interesting, and it's a criticism that I think is really valid, and I don't know what they're going to do, but kind of backtracking to Marcus Mariota for a minute. The quote from Chip Kelly was, "He is the best quarterback in this draft, but we're not going to mortgage our future for a guy like that." And it's interesting because they're not in good position. We kind of thought when the Bradford trade hit, we didn't know what was happening. Did they get the Rams' 10th pick and the Rams switch with their 20th pick? That's not what the case was. So they're not in good position. And I've been so defiant that they're taking Marcus Mariota. Some way it's going to happen. But I don't know anymore. I'm much more just reserved about it, just because when I watch this press conference, when I look at the position they're in, when I look at what Chip Kelly wants and needs to do with this roster, I just don't know if it's possible. But I still can never say no, because we know what Chip Kelly likes. We know how he feels about him. That's something he's always made abundantly clear, is what he thinks and how highly he thinks of Marcus. I don't know. I'm never shutting the door, but part of me is a little bit ready to close the case. But I don't know what the Eagles. What is still the biggest hole for you, though, Rob, that Chip still has to address?
Oh, wide receivers. I'm sorry. When Riley Cooper's your number one man, no. You know what? Riley Cooper's numbers have improved.
Yeah.
He's shown upside. But he is not. Nowhere in this world is he a number one wideout.
No.
Nowhere in this world.
Never.
And I mean, we look at free agency. Everybody that was good is off the market now for wide receivers. You have to look towards the draft now. Who are you going to find late in the first round? Amari Cooper and the kid from West Virginia, those guys are done. After the top 5, those guys are gone. Who do you go to next? And for the Eagles right now with Chip Kelly, if you don't have a wide receiver, I will keep stressing it, you do not win games. Just like we seen it with the Jets last year. When you only have one wide receiver and he's completely guarded, not only is he going to get hurt, he's not going to be able to excel so greatly. Yeah, the Jets, last game of the year, the Dolphins, he excelled, got over 200 yards. But it really struggled that whole year. Faced injuries because he was always tightly covered. And you know what? With the Eagles, they're in bad shape this year. I hate to put it this way. I like Chip Kelly as a coach, but he's made too many dumb moves this offseason, and he really put this team in bad shape.
Now, and here's the thing. I think he deserves a lot of criticism, and there have been some people who have said that one of the problems they feel like with Kelly is we all know now he has control over player personnel, so that's why he's been made control and is solely responsible for all of these moves. There have been a lot of people who said that Chip doesn't have a safety net. He kind of knows that if he really has all the control in the world that he wants, and if he makes a mistake, it's not a big deal, because if he did lose his job, he'd get the biggest job in college football in a heartbeat. I mean, the second that he was fired, literally the phone would just be ringing from every major program in the country. Do you think that's a problem? Is Chip just has no fear of any consequences?
Oh, most definitely. A lot of these coaches don't have the fear, Joe. Even Jim Harbaugh. You know, we saw how that bad breakup went with the 49ers. We knew in the end of the day they were going to split. Right away, you have your colleges lined up. And Chip Kelly, Joe, with his program with Oregon, what he was able to do, he's been to the BCS National Championship. He's got guys like Marcus Mariota. He's built running backs. Any program in the country is going to take him, as you just said. Any program will take him. Whether it's Texas, whether it's USC, any program will take him, and you have nothing to worry about. I'm sorry, at the end of the day, he's going to be making money no matter what. It's not like, he's fired, he's not going to make money. The guy's still going to be making $3 to $7 million a year, hands down. And you know what? Nothing to worry about.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it's interesting because I think he has a lot of confidence in himself, and that's probably a big part of it why he's not afraid to make so many risky moves. But I think part of it is also kind of got to be there's not as much pressure because he knows at the end of the day that anybody in the country is going to give him a phone call. He's got a job tomorrow if he wants to in college football waiting for him. And it's interesting because we see with so many coaches that pressure is there every single waking second of the day to win, or else something bad is going to happen, and you're not going to get another coaching spot. But Chip Kelly, it's a little bit of a different story. Now, the final thing I want to kind of go on, Rob, is things have kind of changed a little bit. I think a lot of Eagles fans are a little bit more on coming back to him after he brought in DeMarco Murray, and now Ryan Matthews commits. But we addressed how big of an issue the wide receiver thing is. Should Eagles fans be a little bit more accepting of the moves now that he did bring in a big guy like Murray, or are they kind of still so many question marks that needs to be addressed?
There's still question marks. With Murray, Joe, what did he have? He had Dez Bryant over there. He had Jason Witten. So it wasn't always...
Not to say also one of the best offensive lines in the game.
He had a great offensive line. Best one, as you just said, best one out there. The Eagles aren't the best offensive line out there. We saw with LaShawn McCoy, he struggled at the start of the year, finished off really good. I mean, if you don't have other weapons to throw to, don't expect Murray to rush for 1,000 yards. I'm sorry, Murray ain't rushing for no 1,000 yards. If he doesn't have any other weapons, he's not giving you 1,000 yards, and you'll be like, wow, did I really just pay this guy this amount of money? But, I mean, the thing is now, Chip Kelly, build now, fill those voids. Find mediocre wide receivers like the Jets. You know what? Cecil Shorts III. The Jets are looking at him. That's a wide receiver that could work out pretty decent in Philly.
He's pretty solid, Cecil Shorts, yeah.
I mean, that's what you need to do. Start scouting high in the draft for wide receivers, and I think the Eagles could reshape themselves. I mean, Sam Bradford, I'm not going to count him out. The only reason why I counted him out when they first made that trade is his ACL injury, because back-to-back years, and you're kind of worried. What if the offensive line doesn't work out too great? Is the protection going to be all right? But his numbers before that still stand up there, still standing high. 21 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Then the year he gets injured, 14 touchdowns, 4 picks. Fisher really changed him as a quarterback. And I think if he's able to stay healthy, he could work out good for Philadelphia in the end of the day.
It's interesting. I mean, yeah, they've got a lot of things to address. The most important thing is going to be the health of everyone. I mean, you're taking a big gamble just on the fact that Bradford has had that injury history, and so has DeMarco Murray, and you've got to think those are the corner pieces of your offense now, unless Chip Kelly pulls a rabbit out of his hat and finds a way to fool us all and get Marcus Mariota. You're playing a dangerous game when the two most important pieces on your offense are injury prone, and it's very interesting. The Eagles have really been the team along with the Jets who've really been like the focal point so far of this new season, and it's been a lot of fun. And I think the Jets are kind of winding down until that quarterback answer, and the Eagles still have a ton of things they have to do. So I'm sure they're not going anywhere in terms of the news. But that is going to do it for this segment. Coming back in a little while, breaking down Marcus Mariota's pro day, and we'll see if there's time for anything else. But thank you for listening and stay with us.